people? This is Josh Brikis, BRIKDOG24 on draft, and I'm going to try to do some sort of podcast, best ball championship recap, and maybe some strategy talk and some week-to-week coverage of how my lineups are doing. I did happen to luckily win the mini best ball $5 championship in MLB first half of the season, so that was nice. And I was able to fire a little bit more on the NFL, which I literally couldn't stop myself from drafting. I did a lot of the minis. They had a mini 1 and a mini 2, which were $5 each. And they also have the regular best ball championship and the mega. So I'm going to kind of just go over a few of the tournaments with the lobby and the payouts, and then just show you how many I did and see how some of the lineups are doing after week 1, and see how many mistakes I made a couple months ago, or how unlucky I got on some injuries, and how many I faded and stuff like that. So hope you guys like it. I'm going to post it to the YouTube channel under Brikis Breaks. Definitely hit the subscribe button for me if you can. I would certainly appreciate it. And if it goes well, I'll continue it all the way through, and we'll see how it goes. Last year, I didn't do that many last year. It was my first year doing best ball, but I did fairly well with the football. Last year, I got about 10% of my lineups through. If you're not familiar with best ball, it's 12 weeks. 12-man leagues, and you have to win your 12-man league outright to advance on to week 13. At that point, you're guaranteed a profit, and then you move on a couple more weeks for the championship. I was able to get 10% of my lineups through last year, and one of them I got to week 15, but I fizzled out and did not get through with a couple guys that had some late season. I think it was Gurley and Tyreek Hill, maybe, or something, that didn't do anything in week 15. Something like that. I had some guys that carried me, and then that happened and fizzled out. So first we're going to go to the main one. This is their $3.5 million championship, $25 entry. You can enter 150 times, which is like, I think it comes out to be $3,750. 165,000 entries was the cap. They got to 161. They got pretty close. They closed it about an hour and a half or so before kickoff on Thursday. So they got pretty close, but there will be a slight overlay. Last year when they had an overlay, they advanced some second place teams based on a point cutoff. So maybe that's what they'll do again this year. I guess that's probably what they'll have to do in order to get to the amount of people they want in further rounds. So here is the breakdown. We'll kind of go through this before we get to some of my teams and stuff, just to get maybe some people that aren't familiar with this. You draft 18 rounds. You get a 30-second clock. You're in a 12-man league. It goes really quick most of the time. You draft any position you want. It takes your best lineup and puts them in each week. So you have no management after the roster. After the draft. So you have no trades, no waivers, no starting lineups, nothing. You just draft and then you're done, which is why it's such a fantastic, amazing thing, and why I love it. You just do the best part of the season, which is the draft. So if you have 3 quarterbacks and one of them does better than the other 2, it automatically puts that one in. So you can see the scoring roster here, which is 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 receivers, 1 tight end, and 1 flex. That will be your starting lineup each week. So when you're drafting the 18, you have to try to account for bye weeks and depth and so on. So there's that. Scoring is pretty standard. It's a half-point PPR with 6 points for the touchdowns, 4 for the passing, and the rest is pretty standard. Let's see if I have the payouts on here. Prizes. Here we go. So this is how it works. You're in a 12-man league through week 12, weeks 1 to 12 right here. As you can see, only one place advances. First place, weeks 1 to 12, advance. Nothing else. Second through 12th gets nothing. But if you get to week 13 and you've advanced this team, then you only need top 3. Top 3, but it is out of 24 now. Now that was different than last year. They've increased these so that they could make the prize pool larger and have $1 million first place prize. Going to be a little bit more difficult this year, which is why the strategy maybe slightly changed in a little bit. So week 13, 14, and 15, you need top 3 out of 24 teams. But if you do win your first 12-man league, you are guaranteed at least $60. So you're a little more than double your money there. And the higher you get this payout. But you're looking for that top 3. Into the finals, which is week 16, it'll be a 27-man final. So a few extra bodies there. Actually, yeah, I guess that's how it'll be still, even with the overlay. But as you can see, really nice money there. You're guaranteed $3 grand for 25 bucks if you get into the finals, and $1 million up top with 2 other 6-figure scores also. So it's a fun chase for sure. All right. So that being said, let's go back and take a look. Now you can see I did 210 of the best ball championships. They are not all $25. The titles are here. Best ball championship is the $25. I'll scroll down till I can get to the 2 other ones and show you the payouts for those. All right, here's one of the minis. This is, I don't know if this is mini 1 or 2, but it doesn't really matter. 46,080 entries, 200,000 in prizes, $5 entry instead of the $25. Everything else is the same, except, as you can see here, you have to win your 12-man league again. You're going to be guaranteed 4 extra money. If you do win your league, you'll get 20 bucks back. If you get top 3, you move on, you move on, you move on, and it's 20,000 up top for week 16 for 5 bucks. And the only difference is you're in a 12-man league for weeks 13, 14, and 15. However, 60-man league in the finals. That's going to be tough. 60-man league in the finals in the mini. So there was 2 of those for the championships, mini 1 and mini 2. And then there was a mega, which was $125 to get in. $125 on the mega. That one did fill and cap out, as did both of the minis. And here's a mega. So we got a mega here, $125 entry, only 4,608 entries. This was the best value, I believe. I probably should have did a few more, but $125 adds up real quick. 500,000 in prizes, but the best part about this one is obviously smaller entries, which accounts for smaller leagues as you advance. So if you win your 12-man league, again, top 3, but only out of 12 for weeks 13, 14, 15, you're guaranteed $500 if you win your first league. Excuse me. So that's pretty nice. $500 min cash. And then win 3 more weeks, you're in the finals. But look at this. Only 6 people are in the finals. So you're only going to beat 6 people, and you're guaranteed 10 grand to 100 grand if you get to the finals. So that's going to be pretty awesome. Excuse me, got a little cough. All right. So now, since we're on this mega, we'll go ahead and, no, that's a really bad one to review, but we're going to do it anyway, since it's up on the screen. I'm going to go ahead and review this one. So as we know, week 1 was a bit crazy, and I think a lot of people after week 1 every year kind of go a little crazy and don't know what to do. The good thing is in best ball, it really doesn't matter. You can't do anything. So you can't do anything but panic, but you can't change anything. It is what it is. You're already drafted. You're done. But, you know, this one here we're showing in 11th place, I believe, after week 1. We only scored 97 points with this lineup in week 1 out of 12 teams. That was pretty much almost dead last. The top lineup got 185. And let's see what we got here. So week 1. All right, so we had Jared Goff, who obviously had probably what I hope for it to be his worst week of the season, with only $186, 1 touchdown and interception. So I expect that to ramp up. I also expect Zeke to ramp up starting this week. So I think that'll continue to climb. Gurley's a question mark. I mean, he did get 14 carries, almost 100 yards. So not a terrible game, but they were giving the ball to Malcolm Brown on the goal line, so that was interesting. This looks like a pretty good team, especially going into the season. I would not be surprised. I haven't scrolled down yet, but just looking at that, what's on the screen there, I wouldn't be surprised if this team has a bounce back week in week 2 and creeps up a little bit. Keenan Allen, one of the best receivers in the league, and one of the best matchups this week coming up. He had a big game, so that's good. I really like Gallup. He caught all of his targets too. I liked him going in. I have a pretty decent percentage of him. I'll actually show you guys that as well. Kenny Stills, I guess I lucked out there because I probably drafted him. I definitely drafted him when he was still in Miami. So that kind of worked out well. If Kiki is going to be out and Stills takes that third receiver role on, not too bad. Dud here, and I don't know how I feel about this one with Brissett there. I thought there was still a chance he could be okay as a safety net for Brissett, but once Andrew Luck retired, I definitely did not draft Ebron very much at all. And if I did, it was 11th, 12th, 13th round. If he was still there, I was taking him. But these drafts, some of them were done before Luck retired. As you'll see, I'll probably have Luck on a few lineups. That's the downside to drafting early. I started drafting when they first put these things out, which was a couple months ago. So I did do some right up till the season started, but I was also doing them a while ago, and it could have gone both ways. Some people have Lamar Miller in a lot of leagues. I was fortunate enough not to have him too much, but I do have Deontay Foreman in a lot of leagues, and he's out. Jordan Thomas, Andrew Luck. There's a lot of guys that are hurt that got drafted before they got hurt. So DJ Moore, obviously not a fantastic week, but 10 targets is nice to see. I have the combo there, which is a necessity in best ball format. In my opinion, I don't think you're going to win the $1 million unless you have stacks on stacks on stacks. So I like to have multiple stacks. As you can see in this one in particular, I have Cam and DJ Moore. I also have Goff, Gurley, and Brandon Cooks. So not often are you going to put a running back in with the receiver quarterback, but Gurley does catch a lot of balls, so it's not a bad one to have. I also have Gerald Everett, which I think Higbee might have been the focus tight end this week, but again, they just did not do well. I was a very low owner of Darrell Henderson, so I'm surprised this first one that we pulled up has him. When we look at my percentages on the ownership, I probably have him less than 5 times. We just happened to pull one of them up because I was not taking him where he was going. I thought Malcolm Brown was going to be the backup, and he is. And I thought Darrell Henderson was going way too high. That doesn't mean he doesn't have upside, though. Ian Thomas could be good. Olsen's already hurt already. He might not play Thursday. Darius Jackson was a bad one. That was a gamble at the time because I had Zeke in this one. I thought it was okay to maybe get the handcuff. Darius Jackson started a few games. There was a little bit of hype. And if you didn't, want to gamble fully on Zeke, then it was smart to maybe grab either Darius, Alfred Morris, or Pollard. But Pollard was starting to go higher. And at the time, Darius was actually starting. So in this league, I do have him. And I think I might have him 4 or 5 times. Kareem Hunt. This was prior to the sports hernia. And I thought, see, the thinking with Kareem Hunt was that if you're going to need players that are fresh and ready to go if you are happening to be winning your league and could actually give you a boost in the later weeks of the season. So that's when I was taking a lot of Kareem Hunt. I did start to fall back on him after he got that injury. I was really starting, I think Chubb was starting to climb into the first round on ADP, and I started to fall back on Kareem Hunt a little bit, just wondering what his role might be if Chubb does live up to the expectations. But Kareem Hunt's just an insane talent, and if he ends up somewhere else or if he stays there, he should still have a role. And it would be nice to have a guy like that hasn't played all season coming in fresh late in the season whenever you do need to make a push for the playoffs. So that's that lineup. As you can see, it's not a terrible lineup that came in 11th place. It's just a lot of the guys did not have a bad week. I really, to be honest with you, I don't hate the lineup going forward. This situation could change if Kenyon Drake gets traded. This is a high upside, kind of long touchdown guy. They had a really bad week, obviously. I'm not too thrilled about this one, but I think Cooks will be in my lineup pretty regularly. And David Montgomery looked pretty sharp on the plays that he did play. Just didn't really get enough action. So I like the guys that are already in here, other than my tight end situation, Everett and Ebron. That's pretty weak. But I do have Ian Thomas, which I think has the talent to be pretty good if Greg Olson's out of the way there, but he's not right now, but he might be. So that's just a quick review of one lineup that's in 11th. Now let's take a look at maybe a lineup that's in first place. I do have a few of those. Here's a mini and another mini with a first place team. Look at that. Andrew Luck, and I'm in first place. How about that? All right, so we're going to have, I have no titles on these, so I'm just pulling them up. And Kyler Murray, yeah, this is probably, see now, I already think that other team's better. With not even looking at the rest of it, the other team is season long probably better, but we'll see. Kyler Murray ended up throwing 54 passes and putting up a semi-decent fantasy game after doing much of nothing for most of the game, but he made a comeback and they were able to get a tie out of there. So not sure about him, but if I don't have another quarterback behind him, I only have Luck. So that's going to be hard to hold on to first place for that one for very long. So you can see this lineup's terrible. Look at this. Deontay Foreman, Ricky Seals-Jones. I mean, he's in Cleveland now, but Foreman's out and Luck's out. So this is probably a dead lineup. And Funchess got hurt week 1. So you can see the combo here with Kirk and Kyler. Also have Fitz in there, so we got 2 of the receivers for Kyler. If he ends up having good, that's pretty good. I got big backs here. I love McCaffrey, obviously, and Ingram. Hilton ends up being a nice surprise. He was pretty good value there after Luck retired, but this was obviously before Luck retired because I had that combo here as well. Noah Fant got enough targets to keep me excited about him. He's a rookie. He should be all right. Hyde looked pretty sharp, actually, in his new team. We have a big tight end here. Upside with the rookie receiver. But this is a tough lineup. I love Darwin prior to McCoy going there. I feel like now he's kind of have to ride the back burner for a while. So funny to see with the first 2 random lineups we look at, and it seems like the one in last place has a better shot than the one in first place. So let's take a look at this first place one. This one scored 172, first place after week 1. Well, we got the best quarterback in the game, so you can't go wrong there. We have the combo with Sammy, and that is why we're in first place. Now, I wish I could say that I have more Sammy, but I don't. I have much more of Mecole Hardman and Tyreek Hill comboed up with Mahomes as well as Kelsey. So, unfortunately, did not have a lot of Sammy, or I'd have a lot more first places, but I'm sure all across the board, everybody that has Sammy is probably doing pretty well. But overall, I like this team so far, except for Chris Thompson. So Chris Carson's really solid. I love the upside of Gallup. We got a big-time receiver here and a tight end rookie that had a big week. And our flex was a tight end as well. So let's see. We got Breeze and Traquan and Michael Thomas. So we got a stack on the Saints. We got a stack on the Chiefs. And we also have Tyreek. So we got Tyreek and Sammy. That could, if he ends up back later in the season, be all right. But right now it's scary because I do have him a lot. But so does everybody else. Mike Davis was out there for a decent amount, so that could end up being okay, especially if there's injuries there. Carry on will be fine. I'm not worried about him. Backup potential here. Backup. In best ball, especially in the 25s or any of these $5, you have to if you stack on receivers and take receivers early, tight ends, quarterbacks, you have to take some shots on some backups and hope that you get lucky and hit on one of them, which obviously was the case last year with James Conner. So you never know. Jamal Williams, Rashad Penny, Darwin Thompson, any one of those could end up, Mike Davis, any one of them could end up a starter, or they could end up right where they are. So not terrible lineup there. Has some holes for sure, but I think Carry On will go in there where Chris Thompson is, and that's how it was supposed to be at least. And then Tyreek was supposed to be in here, but that's not going to happen. We did have pretty sick receivers there, but now I guess Sammy will have to take over. So that's a first place one. Let's go ahead and scroll up and find. Let's see how bad we did on this 12th place one. Here's a best ball championship. 3.5 mil that's in last place. This one scored 89 points with Mahomes. Wow, this must have some duds. Okay. We already talked about these guys. Isabella, I mean, it's probably going to take an injury or something there. I mean, there's just too many. Hakeem Butler got hurt, but he looks like he's probably fourth or fifth in line there. Moncrief had a really bad week. Tyreek got hurt. Obviously, that's no good. What else we got? Kelsey and Mahomes. Cohen, Freeman still. Yeah, this doesn't look great. I mean, we got Odell, Cup, Kelsey, Mahomes. I mean, those are obviously my top picks in this one. And Tyreek killed me there, but it's not terrible. But it is in the bottom, and I don't know if I like this team to go too far right now. But some of these guys are like shared guys and stuff, so we shall see. Let's look at a good team and see how we worked out on this one. 157 points in week 1. Let's see what we're looking like here. We got Mahomes and Bell. That's pretty good. And Watkins. So it seems like a lot of the first place teams I have that combo, which I'm sure most others do as well. Mike Davis again. I have a pretty good amount of shares of Mike Davis, to be honest. Wasn't quite sure about Montgomery and that whole Nagy offense, so took a chance. Jarvis. They obviously, the Browns did not play well. Ben seemed to be off. He was targeting James Washington a lot, but he was off a good amount. So hopefully that improves on some long touchdowns there. There was certainly some potential. 2 nice tight ends, though. Ingram and Hawkinson. That's pretty nice. Carr looked pretty good. Cam. So I got 3 quarterbacks in this one. We got the combo with Cam and Samuel. I think that obviously can only get better. This was a dud against the Bears, but he should be in the starting lineup a lot. Mixon as well. I think he's hurt. I'm not sure about this week, but we got some really big names and early picks here on the bench, and we have Hartman, so we got some upside there. Mixon, Jones, Samuel, a lot of those guys could get plugged in here where Davis is and James Washington, so I think this team's looking pretty good for already being in first place and no major injuries as long as Mixon's all right. We got a really nice one here now, so I think this team could actually do pretty well, to be honest. I think I'll have another good week there and continue to climb in that one. Let's take a look at a second. Let's just take a look at a higher point team. Here's 160. Here's 162, and it's in 3rd place. Wow. So 162 in 3rd place. It's a pretty good team there. We got Deshaun and DeAndre. That's a nice combo there. See why the stacks matter? The stacks matter because when they score, you boosted way up there. Obviously, Marlon Mack. Connor should be better. We all hope so. Tyrell's a nice one now. Emmanuel's going to be good as long as he stays healthy. Ingram's good. Waller's going to be great. Could end up I have a decent amount of shares of him. Not enough, though. I think he's going to keep climbing. Foles, it doesn't really hurt me too bad because I got Carr and Deshaun. We got Foreman and Marquise. Well, I think Marquise Lee's all right. Isn't he? Yeah. He'll be all right. So Foreman's hurt. That's our only dud on this team here. Other than that, I kind of like it. Kind of like it. We got Cooks on the bench. He'll get plugged in. Kirk on the bench with 12 targets. He's going to start getting in there. So that's a pretty good team right there in 3rd place, 162. But you'll see some other ups and downs. I mean, I think I counted 9 first places so far out of 210. Obviously, that's nowhere near what we need to be at by the end of the season. But I think there's a lot of things that are not how they're going to be week 1. Look at this. We got to look at this team. 191. This is probably my best lineup. So I wonder if we can organize these by points. Probably not. All right, we're going to look at this one, and then we'll go to best ball ownership. 191 points in week 1. Let's see what we got here. Wentz, McCaffrey, Eckler, John Ross, Marquise Brown. Wow, we really nailed this one, huh? Robert Woods, not so great. Ertz, not so great. Latavius Murray scored a touchdown. Flacco, Juju is on the bench. Number 1 receiver on the bench. Again, we have Davis, Howard, Olsen on the bench. Funchess got hurt, and Andrew Luck. Damn it. I hate when I see a really good team, and then I have like a guy that's like a 0 for the whole year because that hurts. Did we have another quarterback in this one? Okay, we do have Flacco, so that's not terrible. As long as Wentz and Flacco aren't off the same week, but I think they might be. Can't remember now. Yeah, Yep, by week 10 and by week 10. That's really unfortunate. Well, that stinks. One thing I don't do, but a lot of people do in these, is take quarterbacks that are off the same week without a backup. Obviously, at the time, I took Luck. That was before he retired. So the idea was to have Luck and Wentz going at it, and then Flacco to get plugged in when he had a good week. And we would have had Luck for week 10 at least. And that's not going to work out anymore. So unfortunately, I'm going to get a 0 at the quarterback position for week 10, and that's terrible. Try to avoid that at all costs. Other than that, though, I really like this lineup, except what I don't like is some of these guys are not going to do this, all season, these two guys. But that's okay because we have Juju. And the reason it's best ball and the reason it's fun is because a guy like this outplays Juju one week and he gets plugged in. Juju comes back to life next week. He goes back in, and Woods brings it up. Ertz brings it up a notch. And this team should be pretty decent except for this here. We happen to have Olsen and Thomas, so that should be okay. All right, we're going to go up to best ball ownership and just show you guys how this works here, and just to show you who I drafted a lot of here. So first look at quarterbacks. As you can see, I have Mahomes 36 times out of 210. He's my highest owned quarterback at 17%. The best quarterback in the league, so you cannot complain with that. I was getting them mostly in the 3rd to 4th round. There's very rare instances where I would have taken them higher than that. But yeah, typically if I got Tyreek or Kelsey, then I was taking Mahomes, and I saw it happening a lot with other teams. So if these teams with Mahomes happen to advance to the championship, I think you're going to see a lot of similar stacks, which is why you have to hit on other guys later in the draft, because there's going to be a lot of teams that have the Mahomes Sammy, the Mahomes Tyreek, and the Mahomes Kelsey connection. So you don't really have much of an edge there once it gets to the finals if they have the year they're supposed to have. So you're going to need some other guys in there. The cool thing is you can actually click on this and then go right to your teams with Mahomes and then see how the rest of your team looks. We got a crazy Kansas City stack there with Zeke, and then a Philly stack with Wentz, Alshon, and Ertz. So we got double stacks there. But we got another dud. This Deontay Foreman, I was taking so much of him before he got traded. All my picks of Deontay Foreman were when he was with the Texans. I had an inkling that he was going to get a shot to play ahead of Lamar Miller, and it all fell through because something he did. Don't know what it was. He got cut. Then he went to the Colts, got hurt, and now he's on IR. So I got a lot of zeros that'll be on the bench there with Deontay Foreman. Unfortunately, that's what happens when you draft too early. But we got some other guys here. Singletary. He can kind of plug and play for him. Hawkinson's a nice one. McCoy actually is really nice now in Kansas City. So this team actually looks pretty good with Mahomes. All right, back to the best ball ownership. Some of the other quarterbacks. I was big on Darnold because of where he was going. He was like the bottom 5 to 10 quarterback. You can get him really late. And almost every time I picked him up, I had either Chris Herndon, Quincy Enunwa, Jamison Crowder, or Robbie Anderson, if not more than that. So I was also big on Goff because a lot of times you're getting one of the Rams receivers. At the time that they're going in the 4th or so round, it was always, you either have Kupp, Woods, or Cooks. So I have a lot of those guys with Goff in that. I was pretty big on Derek Carr as well. He was going around the same time as Sam Darnold, and I do have a lot of him with Tyrell Williams. Unfortunately, I don't know. Fortunately, unfortunately, depends on the hour of the day. I probably have a little bit of Antonio Brown, but not as much as other people. So I was kind of hoping that he wasn't going to play, but he, as of yesterday, was, and now he's accused of something else. So who knows? But you can see, who I liked the quarterback and then who I didn't. Took Brissett real late. I was like right before the season started. I got him once. Eli, I just must have ended up having to take him one time, but obviously any of these guys down here was just a one-time little fling. Haskins took a shot once or twice at one point when I thought he was going to start. Towards the end there, I was starting to take Case Keenum with Paul Richardson and hoping that maybe that stack works out a few weeks. You don't need to have a huge week out of any of these, a huge season out of any of these guys. You just need to have a few solid weeks. If I have Mahomes and Keenum, then obviously I would like Keenum to do okay on Mahomes' bye week. But if Mahomes has an okay week and Keenum goes off, then he gets plugged in. So you just need them to have a week or two here and there that outperform, guys that are pretty well drafted in every other league. So that is the quarterback situation. We can see I have Andrew Luck 11 times, which is only 5% out of my 210 lineups. Now, I know we pulled him up 3 or 4 times there out of the ones we pulled up, but I do only have him 11 times, and that's a lot lower because out of the 210 drafts I did, I'd say 190 of them were before he retired. So out of those 190, I have him 11 times. That means 179 other times that there's another team in my league that's getting a 0 from Andrew Luck. 179 times, roughly, I'm guessing. So that's one good way to look at it. Running backs, this was my big sleeper coming into the season. I was huge on Darwin when he was going in the 18th round. I can show you how many times I got him in the 18th round, but I don't know, where we're gonna. I don't even know where to find that out. View tournament details. Recap. I need a recap. Where's that at? Well, I don't know where it's at on here. I'm doing this podcast thing on the computer, but typically I'm on the phone. And anyway, I was getting Darwin late. I'm talking mostly 18th round. Sometimes he didn't get drafted. I thought I was starting to get him too much, so I started not taking him. And as I started not taking him, his ADP started climbing and climbing and climbing. And then everybody started to see his talent and that he was going to get that Hyde was going to get cut. And so that did happen. They got rid of Hyde, and then Darwin started flying up to about the 8th round. So I still started taking him a few times because I wanted my ownership to be as high as it was. It's 26%, which is definitely my highest owned player. Right now that McCoy went there, I can't be too thrilled about it. But I love his talent, and obviously anything could happen there with McCoy and Damian Williams. So we'll see what happens with Darwin. I was a lot more excited when Hyde got cut about that, but we'll have to wait and see now how that plays out. Speaking of Hyde, he was my next highest, and there was a couple reasons for that. He was changing teams. He was in Kansas City. He was going really low in the ADP. I didn't know what was going to happen. I really didn't believe in Damian Williams, which I'll show you as well, because I probably am one of the lowest owners of Damian Williams. 12 times, 6%. So now that Hyde's in Houston, I think that bodes well for him at the moment. And he looked pretty good on Monday night, so we'll see how that goes. Started taking a lot of Justin Jackson with the Melvin Gordon news. Obviously, Eckler looked way better week 1. I'm fading Eckler for the most part. I have him in a few lineups, but probably not enough. I'd much rather see Justin Jackson get a little bit more carries, but he did. I think they probably split for the most part. Just Eckler had a bigger game. I like Derrick Henry's upside. He had a big long touchdown again, and I'm kind of a Derrick Henry fan. Jalen Samuels, I thought would get more touches than he still might, and obviously a solid handcuff there as well. But I think he's going to have a regular role once the Steelers' offense gets going. Pretty big on Marlon Mack, even when his ADP started dropping. I started taking him more after Luck went out. I think people just don't believe in Brissett, but they shall see. There's my big dud, though. That's a killer. 29 times. All of them were probably in July or August, and that's a 0, so that hurts. Jamal Williams, I'm glad he saw the field and stuff because I wasn't so sure with Dexter Williams there, but hopefully Jamal can hold that split carry backup situation and be out there. Told you I have Mike Davis a lot. So there is that. Zeke 21, 10% exactly, 21 times. The top owned guys are obviously going to be lower. You can only get a guy like McCaffrey if you have a top 2, maybe 3 pick, but typically 2. So 19 times is not too bad out of 210. I mean, I'm taking them there every time. Same with Saquon. It looks like Where's Saquon 17 times. So what that means is I probably had a top 2 to 3 pick all of those times there, and then Kamara is my least owned of the top 3. There's Eckler only 15 times. Kamara's down here 11. So I'm definitely fading Kamara. I just don't have him enough to really root for him. So that's that. On to receivers. You can see I have both of these guys 40 times. Now, I don't have them all in the same leagues. There's definitely a good amount, probably, where I have them in the same league, but I definitely was spreading them around as well. Unfortunately, I don't have enough Sammy Watkins in that mix. He's the hot ticket right now, but I think Mecole Hardman will be a nice 40 tournament guy for me there at 19%. Pretty big on Tyrell. As you can see, a lot of that was way before the Antonio stuff, so I'm pretty happy about that, how that's looking right now. Traquan did score. I don't think he got enough targets for me to be thrilled about it, but I do like him. It's just that there's just some other guys ahead of him in the pecking order, but we'll see how the Ted Ginn thing plays out in that. Cooper Kupp, big on Cooper Kupp. Emmanuel Sanders, I was getting 15th round for a long time. People didn't believe his injury was going to heal, and then he started climbing up towards the 10th round once people saw that he was ready to go for week 1. So majority of these 29s are value-based picks way before his ADP started climbing. Love Will Fuller. He caught a real nice long one there, but he didn't get quite enough action for me week 1. But I like Will Fuller and Curtis Samuel and Gallup. I like all these guys a lot. Their upside. Looks like I did pretty good there with Marquise Brown 26 times. I wish I wouldn't have listened to the BS. I was taking him a lot, and I started not taking him towards the season starting. So my number would have been a lot higher, and it probably was higher than this, 12% for sure, for a lot higher a couple weeks ago. But anyway, you listen to the noise, and some opinions change, and he had a big week 1. Now, he might not continue to do it. He wasn't even out there for more than 10 snaps, I don't think, but he did get 2 big ones. So I'm sure we have some duds in here. Again, you need a top 7 pick or so to get Hopkins, which I got as much as I could of Hopkins. Every time that I didn't get one of those top running backs, I'm taking Hopkins or Adams. I'm sure we have some duds in here. There's Devontae 16 times. Funchess is hurt now. Don't have too much of them. AJ Green, some of them were early and some of them were value picks after the injury. So getting them after 7th, 8th round, I think wasn't too bad to take a shot on them at that point. Josh Gordon, I just started taking towards the end. There's going to be some people that got really good value on Josh Gordon because before I thought he was coming back, everyone was starting to gamble on him in the 17th, 18th round, and I thought they were crazy. So that's probably one I'm going to be kicking myself for. There's my Antonio shares, 5%. All right, on to the tight end spot. I'm big on the rookie Noah Fant and Hawkinson. Big on those guys. Everybody's big on these guys, so not much to say there, but I try to take these guys anytime that it made sense. Don't know what's going to happen with this guy. It was only 1 week, but he did not look good. We'll see. Big on Ian Thomas, so the Greg Olsen news was good for me. We'll see what happens with Burton. This is a killer. 10% of my lineups, he's hurt. They didn't really have a tight end, and I started taking him the 18th round a good amount of times, especially if I had Watson. So I started to think I had a little sneaky pick there, and then he got hurt. Darren Waller, 19 times, though. I'm happy with that. I think this guy has potential to be pretty solid when he comes back. Low-end guys down here, just 1 time. I took Gronk just to give it a shot. Some of these guys just 1 or 2 times. Let's see what happens. So that is about it. I do want to go over one more thing because it's pretty cool. So they have these. This is the last thing I'm going to talk about for this week, and then I'll do some updating next week. But if you're getting in the draft, let me know. I can shoot you a text. I think we both get $10 if I refer you. My thing is BRIKDOG24, BRIKDOG24. You can probably either type it in the referral or I can send you a link. It's not much, but you get $10 each person, I think. These things are really cool. I did 12 of them week 1. I advanced 4 of them. So I have 4 drafts coming up on Saturday for week 2. And what happens in these is I'll just do an example here on this one. $3 entry fee, 7,000 entries, 20K prize pool. This is all you draft. It literally takes 4 minutes, probably. Quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, and you're done. There's no bench. It's just like a dream team type deal. You just take who you take, and you start all of them, and that's it. And you're only against 6 people, or this one's 6-person draft, and you have to win it. So you get first out of 6. You only got to beat 5 people, and you just got to play matchups because it's just week 2. It's only the week that you're in. So for week 1, I had 12 of them. I got 4 going on to. Actually, we could do that. I could show you guys. Upcoming 1st and 10. My drafts. Okay. I don't know why one of them's not showing up here, but on my phone it shows 4 for the $1 one, and they haven't advanced it yet for some reason. All right, so this is how this one works. This is only a 4-man league. It was $55. Min cash is $100, so I'm already guaranteed to pretty much double my money. I did 3 of these week 1, and 2 of them made it through. Four people, you only have to beat 3 people. So I did that with 2 of my teams. And the strategy here for me is to not stack. That's how I do these, is not stack. It's like complete opposite from best ball. And my reasoning behind it is I think you want to spread a little bit more in case you dud out on a quarterback or receiver in a stack. If you don't have the stack, then you have a chance to have points in 2 different spots as opposed to having to nail that stack in order to win. You can still win without a stack in this one, is what I'm saying. They give you the projected points here, which quarterbacks are the highest, so they're up there. And then this is just for 1 week, the projected points for the thing. So 4-man draft, it goes really quick. I mean, it'll go something like Kamara, Barkley, Zeke, something like that, and then somebody will take Mahomes, and then they'll start getting receivers in there. And so it's pretty cool. You just get your lineup, and that's it, and then you got to beat those 3 to move on. And the way that it works with the payouts is this one is different, but I'll give you an example. So this one is a $3 one. Win your 6-man league, advance. You're guaranteed $5. Win it again a couple times, $4 grand to first. So this is week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. You have to win a 6-man league, but you redraft new teams, and you have to win that league each time, and then you get the $4 grand here if you win in week 6. So it's pretty cool. Here's a 4-man one that I just showed you was a $55. They changed them because they didn't fill, which is disappointing. This is the one I did that I just showed you. It was $55 with a 4-man draft last week. Now it's a 5-man draft. So they added one to try to keep the prize pool the same and or keep the prizes up, which is not, because it's 10 grand in the other one that I'm advanced in, and it's only 4 grand in this one. So you're risking a little more here for not as much. It's not as exciting as it was last week. Me personally, I won't be doing as many as those, but I already maxed out on the Hype Train $5 ones. You're allowed to do 6 of these. I did 6 of those. First place is $5 grand in a couple weeks, and then you're allowed to do the same amount of people that are in the draft. So this is a 6-person draft. You can do that 6 times. This is a 4-person draft. You can do that 4 times. I already maxed all these out for week 2, and I guess I could show you guys who I took, who I like in week 2. I'll give you a quick look ahead at week 2. Let's see. This is the 4-man draft. No, 4-man draft. Yep. Kamara, Jacobs looked really good. A lot of carries. I mean, he's a beast. Lamar, I like the matchup again, and I like the fact that he didn't run in week 1, and he has some potential to do some running. Keenan Allen, I'm big on this week. I think everybody is. Thielen's one that I dug deep in down here at the end, and took him. So Hype Train is 6-man, a little bit more spread out here, so not. But I do have Keenan again. I also have Devontae. I mean, that's 2 of the top receivers there, even though it's not, everybody doesn't have Devontae up there because of his week 1. So he's projected a little bit lower. Marlon Mack, I dug a little bit, couple spots down for. I'm big on Zeke this week. and obviously Brady playing Miami, who Lamar just lit up. So I have a lot of similar guys: Zeke, Adams, Cook, Lamar, Hilton, Zeke, Jacobs, Hilton, Mahomes. You can see Zeke, Jacobs, Allen, and Thomas. I mean, these teams are stacked, obviously, but they're 4, 5, and 6-man drafts. So everybody has, I got Cook, Barkley, Dak, Keenan, and Juju. I mean, it looks like a winner. But then when you click on everybody else's, it's Watson, Kamara, Matt, Kelsey, Cooper, Brady, Zeke. Everybody's got good teams. You just got to hope they miss on, I feel like this is a bad pick for him. So, and this too. And he stacked the heck out of New England against Miami. Obviously, that's probably going to work out, but this might not work out. He might not play. This might not work out. He's just got more risk here, and you don't really need to do that in a 6-man league. So I go with more guaranteed stuff as opposed to the best ball. Completely different than best ball. All right, that's enough for week 1. I think I talked your ear off enough. I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. Do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. If you like this, I'll keep doing it. And even if you don't, I might keep doing it. Also, check out some of the other videos and subscribe here and follow on Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff. I have some other stuff that I'm working on, some other sports card businesses, so I'd appreciate the follow. Thanks, guys, and have a good one.